In the early 1990s, Yugoslavia, a nation of Serbs, Croats, and Bosniaks, was tearing itself apart. Years of corruption, nationalism, and ethnic tension had reached their breaking point. On one ordinary day in Sarajevo, a wedding celebration turned into tragedy. Within hours, one man's death would ignite one of Europe's worst genocides since World War II. The Bosnian Genocide was not born overnight. It grew from political ambition, propaganda, and centuries of division. As Yugoslavia collapsed, leaders sought power through fear and bloodshed. What began as a call for independence soon became a campaign of ethnic cleansing that would claim over 100,000 lives and scar Bosnia forever. As Yugoslavia began to fracture, Bosnia stood at a crossroads. Its president, Alija Izetbegović, believed the only way to protect his multi-ethnic nation was through independence. But not everyone agreed. Bosnia's Serb population, led by Radovan Karadzic, saw separation as a direct threat to their identity and security. Backed by Serbian leader Slobodan Milosevic, Karadzic warned that independence would plunge Bosnia into chaos. In parliament, his message to Izetbegović was chilling: if Bosnia broke away, the Serbs would defend themselves by force. Despite these threats, the referendum went ahead in March 1992. Bosnian Serbs boycotted the vote, but the Bosniak and Croat majority carried it, declaring Bosnia and Herzegovina an independent state. The announcement sparked outrage among Serb leaders, who viewed it as an act of betrayal. To many, it seemed like a democratic victory. But to others, it was the beginning of a war. Within days, Serb militias began mobilizing, checkpoints appeared across towns, and ethnic divisions deepened overnight. What had started as a political disagreement was now transforming into something far darker, a struggle for control, identity, and survival that would soon engulf an entire nation. In early 1992, Sarajevo was still clinging to moments of normal life. One of them was the wedding of Milan Gardović, a young Serb man celebrating with his family in the city's old quarter. The day was filled with laughter, music, and hope, until a chance encounter changed everything. As the wedding convoy drove through the streets waving Serbian flags, it passed a known Bosniak gangster. Enraged by the sight, the man drew his gun and opened fire. Nikola Gardović, Milan's father, was shot and killed instantly. What should have been a family tragedy quickly became political ammunition. Serb leaders labeled the killing proof that Serbs were no longer safe in Bosnia, while Bosniak officials dismissed it as an isolated crime. The gunman, though identified, was never arrested. That single decision shattered any remaining trust between the two communities. By nightfall, Serb militias loyal to Karadzic had erected barricades across Sarajevo. The local police were powerless. Within hours, the capital was effectively under Serb control. The killing of one man at a wedding, a moment of personal loss, had become the spark that lit the fuse of war, transforming neighbor against neighbor in a city once known for its coexistence. While Sarajevo slipped into chaos, larger forces were already at work behind the scenes. Radovan Karadzic was not acting alone. In secret, Serbian President Slobodan Milosevic and Croatia's leader reached an agreement to divide Bosnia between them. Milosevic began transferring Bosnian Serb soldiers from the Yugoslav army directly into Karadzic's newly formed Bosnian Serb units. Almost overnight, his ragtag militias transformed into a powerful army, over 80,000 troops strong and backed by heavy weapons from Belgrade. But Milosevic's most dangerous weapon wasn't his soldiers, it was the paramilitaries. Units like Arkon's Tigers and the White Eagles, infamous for their brutality, poured into Bosnia under vague orders to cleanse non-Serb populations. Villages, towns, and cities became their hunting grounds. For Karadzic, this was the moment to act. He now had the men, the firepower, and the political cover to begin reshaping Bosnia by force. His plan was simple and terrifying: seize territory, eliminate resistance, and remove anyone who wasn't Serb. The first target was the northeastern city of Bijeljina. In April 1992, it fell within 3 days. Hundreds of Bosniak civilians were rounded up, executed, and left in the streets. The campaign of ethnic cleansing had begun. The fall of Bijeljina marked the beginning of systematic terror across Bosnia. Serbian forces, now organized and emboldened, swept through towns with large Bosniak populations. In Zvornik, Foča, and Visegrad, civilians were dragged from their homes, beaten in the streets, or taken to makeshift camps where few would return. In Zvornik alone, nearly 2,000 people disappeared within days. Entire communities, families that had lived side by side for generations, were erased almost overnight. In Sarajevo, the tension reached its breaking point. Tens of thousands marched for peace, desperate to prevent the violence from spreading. But when protesters neared the Holiday Inn, the Bosnian Serb headquarters, snipers opened fire from surrounding rooftops. 6 people were killed, and dozens more wounded. The message was clear: no one was safe. By the summer of 1992, Serb forces controlled nearly 3/4 of Bosnia. Sarajevo, once a vibrant, multi-ethnic capital, was now surrounded. For the next 4 years, the city would endure constant shelling, its people trapped without food, water, or electricity. Hospitals, homes, and schools were bombed daily. What began as political tension had turned into a brutal campaign of extermination, a siege that would become one of the longest and bloodiest in modern European history. By 1993, Bosnia was engulfed in full-scale war. The campaign of ethnic cleansing spread relentlessly, mass executions, concentration camps, and forced deportations became everyday realities. Over 4 years, more than 100,000 people were killed and nearly 2 million displaced from their homes. Sarajevo endured daily bombardment, families survived on rainwater and scraps, hiding from snipers who targeted anyone who moved. Entire towns vanished, and centuries of culture were reduced to ashes. International outrage grew, but intervention came late. Only in 1995, after the massacre at Srebrenica, where over 8,000 Bosniak men and boys were executed, did NATO launch airstrikes that forced Milosevic to negotiate peace. The resulting Dayton Agreement ended the war but left Bosnia divided into 2 entities, effectively freezing ethnic lines in place. Justice arrived slowly. Milosevic was arrested in 2001 but died before his trial concluded. Karadzic hid for over a decade before being captured in 2008 and sentenced to 40 years for genocide and crimes against humanity. Yet, for many survivors, peace brought no closure. Thousands of families still search for missing loved ones, and in parts of Bosnia, leaders continue to deny the genocide ever occurred, a haunting reminder that the wounds of war never fully heal. The Bosnian Genocide stands as one of history's starkest warnings of what happens when nationalism and hatred go unchecked. It began with political ambition, fueled by fear, and ended with unimaginable human loss. 3 decades later, Bosnia still bears the scars, divided towns, grieving families, and a silence that echoes through generations. Remembering these events isn't just about the past, it's about preventing them from happening again. If this story moved you, share it to keep the memory alive. And don't forget to subscribe for more documentaries that uncover the truths the world must never forget.